What was your proposal like? I met Fay Grove in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, early in 1983. I was in Pittsburgh to conduct a four-church choir workshop for area Worldwide Church of God congregations. An elder in the church had seen my work at the previous fall festival in Virginia and thought it would be beneficial for the Pennsylvania churches to experience a fast paced, high end workshop. I was from far enough away that I was considered a choir expert. Humorous old saying. Fay had recently joined the local choir and was a participant in the workshop. She had made a note on her calendar. There was a workshop planned, and clinician John Hammond would be the guest director. Her note was close to the correct name, but not quite accurate. I made travel plans and workshop notes to deliver during the weekend. Elder Earl Henn and his wife hosted me in their home and handled all the organizational details, coordinating the four choirs and schedule of events. Unknown to me was a secondary goal Mr. Henn had to introduce me to Fay in hopes that a relationship might ignite. The church held its regular Saturday afternoon worship service, and while wandering around the crowd prior to services, I happened to meet Fay, and we sat and talked for several minutes before church began. I believe I actually ended up sitting with her for the services. After church, Mr. Henn made a beeline to me to arrange an introduction to Fay. He was quite surprised when he learned that we were already acquainted and had struck up an informal friendship. Later in the evening, we had our first workshop session where music and fellowship were outstanding. I managed to have several conversations with Fay during the session breaks. The Hens had invited Fay to spend the weekend with them and arranged for her to cook the evening meal. Her lasagna and salad dinner was a nice treat. As I remember, we talked late into the evening, and sometime during the next day, I managed to cancel my flight home and stretched the weekend visit an extra day. The workshop was a complete success, as was Mr. Henn's plan for an introduction. I returned to Chattanooga and began regular correspondence with Fay, as well as a number of expensive long-distance phone calls. The early 1980s were before the present high-tech computer and digital phone networks. It didn't take very long before I ran up a $300 phone bill. Fay was able to make a few calls to me through her business and was able to keep her personal phone bill to a minimum. We saw our relationship was blossoming very nicely, and after ministerial counsel, Fay made the decision to move to Chattanooga and explore potential development in our future. She rented a room from a lady in our local congregation and secured a job with M&M Mars Candy Company in Cleveland, Tennessee. Not long after that, she took a job with a local office supply company. Her biggest stumbling block in the office supply business was learning how to understand the southern accent of the customers on the phone. During the next several months, we arranged a trip back to Pennsylvania where I met Fay's family. They seemed to think I might be a good potential match for their middle daughter and gave approval for our growing relationship. Fall arrived and we were off to Big Sandy, Texas to celebrate the Fall Church Festival on campus at Ambassador College. There were some 9,000 festival attendees, and I was in charge of directing the festival music provided by a 150 voice choir and 15 or 20 instrumentalists. That was a substantial assignment for any music director. I was also a soloist for one of the services. We had a great pre-festival rehearsal, and we met a number of very friendly church members and musicians during the day. I had planned a very traditional marriage proposal for that very evening. We went for a stroll through the college campus and were enjoying a beautiful sunset and full moon rising. Circumstances were finally perfect for me to pop the question. With engagement ring in my pocket and the perfect atmosphere near the footbridge across the campus creek, it was time to make my proposal. At that moment, a carload of young folks pulled up beside us with their youthful enthusiasm and invited us to go with them to get pizza and have a night on the town. Awkward. Faye was very hungry and excited to accept their invitation. I squirmed and made several excuses why I wasn't too interested in going for pizza. Faye pressed more toward the meal, but somehow I won the discussion. That may have been the last time I prevailed in a contested conversation. We walked on and talked, and finally I presented her with the ring and proposal of marriage. She seemed to be pleased enough with the idea and decided it might have been a better choice than the offer of the pizza shop. Shortly thereafter, in November of 1983, we were married in Chattanooga, and as of November 2023, we passed the 40-year mark. It was a proposal engagement that had lasting endurance.